It's Wednesday morning. Y'all know what that means. What's good, neighborhood? And welcome to episode 4 of Warframe Wednesday. So, yes, tomframery is about to ensue. So, as I mentioned last week and in the lead up to this, today's target, as you can see on screen, is none other than what's known as the heaviest of the Warframes, Rhino. Now, Rhino is an interesting case in that he can serve as a sort of intermediate lesson for most newcomers getting into Warframe, but he's also still very straightforward in how you can build him, and very straightforward in what his kit can actually do. So, with that little preamble out of the way, let's jump right into it. Guess who's back? Yeah, it ain't you, pal. So, I'm gonna give you the basics real quick, and then, just as last time, we're gonna head to the simulacrum, and we'll get started going over more of the specifics of his abilities and his kit. And now, of course, we have closed captioning. Now, just really quickly, you know, let's go over the basic sort of theme that I put together for Rhino. Rhino is basically a space marine. He is a Warframe space marine. He's big, he's bulky, he's meant to do damage, he's meant to be on the front lines and take a lot of hits while dishing it out. So, to emphasize that, I stuck with more, fist weapons and also whatever variant types of shotguns I could find for his primary and for his secondary weapons. So, there's the Comac, which is admittedly a weapon that could be found later than most rookies or most newcomers to the game will actually find it and build it. And while this right here may be a specialized version, the original variant of this weapon, the Dragoon, this is a weapon that you can actually wind up finding and forging relatively early in the game. So while we're right here, we're going to go over, we're going to gloss over Rhino's kit before seeing it in action. His passive is pretty simple. If you're landing from above a certain height, which I'll demonstrate in a few minutes, when he lands, the shockwave that comes off of him deals, it says 100 damage, so it may not be much in the grand scheme of things, but early game when you get him, it'll help out tremendously. Like that shockwave can be very useful for crowd control and for if you do get yourself into a hairy situation with Rhino, you can make the escape quickly. Rhino Charge is, the first ability you get for him right out the box. It's pretty standard. You can actually chain it together for more damage at lower cost, but also double the range in addition. Iron Skin is basically self armor. when you cast it, the more damage you're taking, the more incoming fire you're taking, the stronger the iron skin gets and the more damage it can take. So let's say if the shockwave doesn't help get people off of you, cast iron skin, or even better, if you're charging a group of enemies, cast iron skin, let them basically pump all their rounds into the iron skin to strengthen it up, and then barrel through them. Bull in a china shop. Roar is not so often used, largely because, again, Rhino's more of a damage dealer. But if you want your teammates to start dealing, you know, something comparable to the kind of damage that Rhino can on his own, then Roar's going to help out. Rhino's Stomp is his ultimate ability that you learn once you get him to rank 10. And the Stomp pretty much causes a shockwave, lifts enemies into the air, and puts them in stasis. It's literally bullet. It's literally you stomp and it's bullet time, but not. You'll see what I mean in a sec. All right, let's go ahead and jump to the relay, and we'll get started with actually showing everything off. Now, with the previous three Warframes, just to review, the previous three Warframes are basically there. Those starters are there to teach new players about mobility and basic gameplay, the finer points of elemental damage, and team and ability synergy, aka Excalibur, Volt, and Mag. Rhino, in the meantime, excuse me. Rhino is basically the Warframe that says, okay, you're done with the basics. Like, you're done with the basics. If you want to survive long enough to actually get to some of the other Warframes in the game, then you better be ready to get out there and start hitting it hard. So here we are. We've got our targets. And now, to truly begin the demonstration, this is Rhino's passive. That ground shockwave right there. Again, doesn't do much in the way of damage, but it's all about knockdown. And on lesser enemies, it actually would knock them down. Again, Rhino is Rhino is an early game frame, so his kit is pretty much specialized for early game. So here we go once again with his first ability, Rhino Charge. And you see the little gauge that was up on the screen, right? That's the chain gauge and the damage multiplier. And I just ankled Rhino. Now, Rhino Charge is meant to do damage, but I'd say more than anything, like if you're dealing with higher higher level enemies and you don't have a good mod set out, then use it for crowd control. Use it to push folks back. Let's see if I can't put something else together here. Let's put some... Let's put some other... Oh, it appears I can't until those last 9 are dropped. So how about this? Let's get rid of them, and then we'll put the remaining 11. Yeah. We'll put the remaining 11 there. And let's set the enemy level to something a little bit more reasonable. How about 50? And you saw that? Saw just how Rhino's passive was able to drop every single one of those guys in that group. Again, it's basically meant for shock and awe on smaller and less heavily armored enemies. We'll go ahead and cast his third ability real quick, Roar. And again, not only does the buff apply to him, but it also applies to any teammates in range. Let's go ahead and get back up here really fast. Now, that right there's Iron Skin. Pretty straightforward. Oh, and it doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what you're doing mid-air. You could be shooting. You could be in the middle of a mid-air slide. The moment he touches the ground from that predetermined height, the moment he does, that's where you'll get that shockwave. Hey, what's up, Andre? Uh, don't worry about it. I mean, this week's kind of my early week because of how much earlier I need to get to work, so I wouldn't be surprised if folks are thinking that I'd be streaming later. But anyway, let's continue. Rhino's fourth ability. That's the stomp. I'm not entirely sure why I didn't lift those guys. But we'll be able to see it more. We'll be able to see it more in action once we actually get to a decent mission. But yeah, the basic idea is, if nothing else, dish out whatever damage you can, tank damage with the Iron Skin, and use stuff like that to set your targets up for further damage if they haven't been killed outright by the damage from the stomp itself. One more time for the people in the back. Yeah, that's the good stuff. And that right there is our basic primer on all of Rhino's abilities. Nothing too, nothing too complicated, I'd say. I'm really trying not to. I'm really trying not to get my hopes up. I want to. I want to, but I'm really trying not to. Anyway, let's get out of here. There's one thing that I missed, or one thing that I intentionally skipped over as far as introducing Rhino to you guys. And that is how you acquire this beast. So, for anyone who's newly getting into Warframe, if you want to pick up the Zengar frame, I'll show you exactly where. Pretty much one of the earliest planets you can go to, right after you finish up the tutorial stuff on Earth, Venus. And you will find Rhino's blueprints. You'll find Rhino's blueprints in the boss fight here on the Fossa node. The boss you gotta take out is known as the Jackal. It's pretty much a. Well, you know what? I'll just show you. Yep. Today is Warframe Wednesday, after all. Like, I guess you could say I'm. We're about a month in, and I'm pretty committed to doing this. Okay, it sounded like someone triggered an alarm, so let me go and get that shut off really fast. Alright, here we go, here we go. Hello. Okay, you know what? Go ahead. Keep shooting. I dare you. Shoot me. Shoot me. Shut me! Ah, I needed someone to pump more damage into the iron skin than just that. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Oh well. There we go. Let's get those cameras taken care of. And there's the airlock. Okay, what's the distance looking like? 150 meters? Okay, almost there. Oh, get these punches! And here we go. Now, the basics behind fighting this is really simple. Do damage to the legs to knock it down, and then keep up the damage on the main body to take it out. Trust me, the fight would go on a lot longer when you're in the early game and you haven't gotten your weapons ranked up yet. Oops. Wait, am I going the... No, I'm going the wrong way. But even in the early game, when you actually pick up Rhino proper, he's basically designed to be the kind of Warframe where you can just load him up with whatever your favorite high impact weapon is and just like really power through at least the next planet's worth. Hmm. That is actually a very good question. Now, honestly, yes, you can actually take a more tactical approach to playing Warframe, even with characters like Rhino. Because like with a good number of the mission types, I mean, sure, there's a lot of the more combat oriented types like the assassination, elimination, survival, stuff like that. But in in spy missions, like there are actual legitimate spy missions where you have to be stealthy, you have to avoid unnecessary combat. Sorry, the spy and the rescue missions. You have to be stealthy, avoid unnecessary combat, and basically, use the elements and use what you know in order to actually complete the mission. And also, tactical weaponry as far as, archery and sniper rifles? Yes. Yes, indeed. And yes, you can be rewarded. Not can be. You are rewarded extra experience for playing stealthily. So if you're able to actually, flank enemies and stealth kill them, you can get extra experience. If you can take out enemies from long range, especially with headshots and they don't notice you, not only do you get the extra experience because it counts as a stealth kill, but that stacks with whatever bonuses you might get for headshots as well. So, considering that considering that we've pretty much done everything there is to do, and I mean everything there is to do with Rhino. Oh, no, we haven't done everything there is to do with Rhino because there's one more thing I need to show you guys. And this is something I actually can show you. As you play through the game, you'll earn reputation with various factions. And those factions, when you actually get to a high enough rank, can give you access to different items, especially different mod cards specifically built for your warframes. Case in point, Steel Meridian. I've pretty much maxed out my ranking with them. But in the offerings, at least I'm pretty sure it's Steel Meridian. Yes, they do. In the offerings, Steel Meridian actually has a set of mod cards specifically for Rhino. Those being Ironclad Charge, Iron Shrapnel, Piercing Roar, and Reinforcing Stomp. And these mods, these augments, can actually really change up how you can use Rhino. So let's take Piercing Roar for example, the only one of his augment mods that I don't have right now. You pick up this bad boy, and once you max it out, it actually makes it so that his roar buff can be used more offensively. So you cast it, enemies in range. It's like enemies get in range get knocked down, and they suffer from a puncture proc. So it basically is armor piercing. With reinforcing stomp, if you've already got iron skin up, then any enemy that you catch in the stomp, it builds up more of the iron skin. It reinforces the iron skin. The augment specifically for iron skin, iron shrapnel, basically makes it to where you recast it and the iron skin detonates off of Rhino. Does puncture damage, so yes, more armor piercing and more knockdown. And then with Ironclad Charge, every enemy that you tackle with that pretty much increases Rhino's armor. So that way, he can take more. Basically, he can take more shots before his shields are depleted and before it starts affecting his health. Now, on to the previous question regarding stealth gameplay. I'll go ahead and, I guess, kind of skip ahead in the lineup a little bit, and I will show you one of the warframes you can get that is quite literally built for stealth. Ivara. Now, Ivara, she is basically all about she is all about that stealth gameplay. So much so that you can only get her through you can only get her blueprints through completing spy missions. That's just how stealth focused she's built. You know, most of her kit pretty much revolves around using arrows. You know, she has different trick arrows. She has a remote control arrow that she can use for stealth kills. She can go invisible, and she has a high powered bow that can do, additional damage based on, and even more so has different abilities based on which one of her trick arrows she's got equipped. But even before you're able to pick her up, I mean, hell, you can even go back to a basic Warframe like Rhino, and if you really want to, like when you start the game, when you start the game and you're running through that first tutorial section and it has you pick up certain weapons, you can just go ahead and pick up, say, where's it at? You can just go ahead and pick up the Mark One Paris. You know, you can start the game with bows, and you can continue through the rest of the game with bows and silent weapons, should you choose. Let's see, where's that other Mark One? Where's that Mark One pistol? Oh, and instead of the pistols, you can pick up kunai. You know, more innately silent weapons. And even then, later on in the game, you can start picking up mod cards that actually apply silencers to any what I think it's actually no, I'm pretty sure it's a mod for both primary and secondary weapons. So let's say if you have a sniper rifle, or if you have even, a laser rifle. Let's say if handheld you've got any handheld rocket launchers or dual pistols, or dual hand shotguns. You can apply the hush mods to those, turn them into silent weapons, and you can even engage in stealth gameplay with heavier, louder weaponry. And also, back on Earth, there is a node, like there is a section that you'll be able to get to. I think it's not the mantle. Is it Cambria? Yeah, Cambria is going to be one of the first missions, or one of the earliest missions that you'll be able to get to, that will effectively teach you about spy missions. And tackling spy missions is different for each enemy faction that you run across. Excuse me. So a lot of times, sure, you'll still very likely be discovered by enemies, but if you get the drop on someone from long enough range, then yeah, you'll still be able to use what you've got as far as silent weapons to do the job. Now, admittedly, I'm not necessarily the best at this whole stealth gameplay thing. I mean, I've already got dudes coming in to try and put a bullet in me. But if you really want to stay at long range, conserve your ammo, go for the one shot, one kill kind of gameplay, then it's possible. It's possible, and honestly, I think the game makes it pretty rewarding when you do so. Let's see if I can run through this stealth mission or this run through this spy mission pretty quickly. Hello. And yeah, if you absolutely need to get the drop on an enemy, they do have they do have setups where you can sneak up on folks from behind. Basically do one shot high damage and that's the end of that. Two, three. Please, oh please tell me I wasn't spotted. Or at least not by anyone I haven't already taken out. Okay, I might have straight up botched those jumps. But thankfully, it's nothing that could compromise or outright end the mission. Hello. Goodbye. There's a lot of guys coming from that way. I should probably be careful. And that right there was a security drone. Glad I saw that thing before it saw me. Oh, hey, it's no trouble at all. So yeah, even though it may not seem like it at first, you can definitely tailor not just your not just your chosen warframe, but you can tailor the game itself and how you play it to any sort of approach you prefer. Boop. No, doggo, please don't come after me. Oh god. Angry doggos. Angry doggos. See, and this right here is another wrinkle in the stealth gameplay. You gotta be on the lookout for hidden passages. Woo. No, no, no. Damn it. So, yeah, there's the sensors. Well, there's the sensor bars. There's the security drones, which I was unfortunately discovered by because their, security beams actually go through windows. I should have figured that. Oh, hi, Mark. Stop it! Leave me alone! No! Yep, I've got angry doggos and dudes shooting at me. Stop it. Alright, let's see if I can't make my way through the rest of this mission really fast so we can get out of here. Boom, boom. Arrow for you. And there we go. Okay, so with this one, I believe I have to pop over here behind the water. Use that first console to lower the water some. And drop down from here for the next one. And then go here for the third. And now it's just a matter of not getting sighted by anything that could possibly have the guards called. One, two, Yahtzee. And with that, I can make a break for it. And if I was doing this right, then I could. If I was doing this right, then I'd be able to do so without either without people spotting me at all, or being able to get the drop on every enemy I come across, so that way the skirmishes are quick. I mean, this is a game about space ninjas, and one of the key things about being a ninja is stealth. Oh, and there you go. I just got the systems blueprint for Ivara. So if I didn't have her already, there's one of her components. And all that for getting all three successful extractions during that spy mission. So, if you ever do hit a point where all you want to do is just run and gun, get in there, be loud, be ferocious, then early game, Rhino's a good bet, no question. But as a Warframe, Rhino is, Rhino is the big bad brick wall. But no matter what Warframe you have, you can tailor them to how you want to play. And that's one of the great parts about this game in general. You know, everything with these frames that I'm showing off is just thematic builds, something that takes advantage of what the Warframe was designed for. But again, you can take Warframes like Rhino and make them play like stealth assassins. You can take Warframes like Ivara, rocket, load her up with a rocket launcher, a shotgun, a hammer, and just go to town. The reason why there's over the reason why there's over 6 million players in this game is because somewhere down the line, each of them found something that they were able to make the experience unique for themselves. All you gotta do is just give it the time. But that being said, that's gonna do it for Warframe Wednesday today. Greatly appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out. As always, I love showing people what this game has to offer, and whatever help I can provide, whether it's actually running submissions with you at some point or just doing these tutorial streams every week, I'm glad to help. And now that Rhino's out of the way, let me show you guys what we got in store, or who we got in store for next week. Let's just say things are going to heat up a little bit on the next Warframe Wednesday. But until then, y'all have yourselves a top notch Wednesday. I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Stay good, neighborhood.